Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's time once again for Closing the Wealth Gap. The one show, maybe the only show, that shows you how to close the wealth gap in your own life with the man who's done it for many, our wealth coach himself, Tyrone French. Hey, Tyrone.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Closing the Wealth Gap. I'm Tyrone French, and I'm here with my, I guess I can call him a sidekick.
I'm Ed McMahon, and you're Johnny Carson. Or I'm dating myself. I don't know. Yeah.
Paul Roberts. I mean, I tell you, I get so many emails and calls about you and your personality and, how knowledgeable you are and how, it's just we have this balance as far as going back and forth. And they always talk about, you ask the questions that they would love to ask. It's like they're listening to the show, and all of a sudden you say exactly what they were thinking.
That's my goal. That's my personality type that comes easy to me. I'm the question asker. I'm the one that's back of the room says, a big meeting around the room, and said, excuse me, but what are we doing?
Exactly. Hey, but I tell you what, a lot of things are going on in the world today. I'm getting a lot of phone calls from my clients. A lot of, people that know me know that I have a insurance company, Tyrone. Well, I'm a insurance marketer.
Right.
Tyrone French and Associates. I contract with various insurance companies, life insurance, annuities, things like that. But, seldom do I find myself in a situation where I'm dealing with automobile insurance. And I'll tell you a fascinating story. I drive a BMW. I love my BMW. But, it started, the engine started
naturally
vibrating.
You drive a BMW. I don't drive a BMW, but you drive a BMW, naturally.
Here's the thing. When I get into my car and they have the medallion on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
A lot of people see BMW, but I see Build My Wealth.
Oh, wow.
I see Build My. So every time I get inside my car, it's reminding me to build my wealth.
They're going to love that. Let's send this to BMW. They're going to put you on an ad or something here. That's powerful.
I tell you what, here's the thing, though. I mean, hold that thought, because they may want to, they may try to burn this.
They may be the other way here.
But anyway, I take my car to the dealer.
Yes.
And, when I bought the car, I bought it was a maintenance package on it.
Right.
And
which so many people say, that's a sucker's bet. You're never going to use it. Forget it,
Well, here's the thing. I would take my car in for servicing, and BMW wouldn't charge me a dime. They did this Multipoint servicing. They would check everything, and I'd pick up my car, and it was running fine. I'd make a few suggestions. They'd check it out and say, oh well, it's okay, or we can't duplicate it, blah blah blah, whatever. So again, I'm a couple of weeks, I'm driving my car, and I noticed that when I started up, the engine is vibrating. Make a long story short, I take it to the dealership. Mm-hmm. And they check out the car. And here's the thing, Paul. My maintenance contract had expired. The warranty on the car, the vehicle warranty, had expired.
Are you so organized that you knew it and you just chose to let it expire? Or was it just like it happens to most of us? What do you mean it expired?
Well, COVID happened.
Yeah.
See, normally, I buy a car and then I, keep it for a couple of years and then I buy another car. I just upgrade it. And then the maintenance plans on it, the warranties, everything transfers over. So I never have to worry about that. COVID kind of put a halt to certain things. And I was like, well, I started, taking a look at my situation, my finances and stuff. And I started asking myself, do I really need another car right now?
Right.
The car was running fine, but just like Murphy's Law, whatever can go wrong.
Will.
So again, I had this issue with the vibrating at the engine. Take the car in. Sure enough, both motor mounts had collapsed.
Ooh, ouch. That doesn't sound good.
And the problem was they diagnosed the problem to whereas one day I was driving my car and I hit this pothole, a major pothole. I just thought it tore off the whole front end of the car. And so I'm like, wow, I'm glad, I'm thinking BMW engineering and stuff. The car's fine, no problem. Matter of fact, before I get in that, I'll tell another story. One day I was driving my car on the surface street. And I'm watching traffic, rear traffic and traffic in front of me, the lights changing. I'm assuming that this person's going to accelerate and go through the light. So I accelerated a little bit, to make the light as well. Normally I don't do that, but this person decided to stop.
Yeah, been there.
And all of a sudden, within a split second, Paul, I had a car on the side of me, a car behind me. All of this stuff is happening in a split second. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm getting ready to have an accident. Now, as far as my auto insurance, I've never had an accident, never reported an accident.
Wow.
I've never been in an accident.
They say every couple of years people get in an accident, minor, small, or minor, big.
So it just flashed across my eyes, that my third eye that, hey, I'm going to have this accident. How bad is it going to be? And Paul, all I knew was to hit the brakes. That's all I knew at that moment, hit the brakes. And all of a sudden I heard these tiny explosions in my mind going on all around the car.
Ooh.
Left axle, right, rear, whatever, just these tiny explosions. And I gripped the steering wheel, and all of a sudden the car stopped. And I could hear the little where I was really close to the car, the buzzer. But the thing is, I wasn't in an accident. And I took my car into servicing, and they said, oh, and I told them the same scenario as far as the story. I said, I knew I was in an accident. All of a sudden I hit the brakes and I heard these tiny explosions. And they said, oh yeah, that's just how the ABS works, as far as the computer automatically gives tension and releases tension on certain right, brakes. Exactly. It does it in a split second.
Yeah.
So that sold me on BMW as far as their performance and safety and the whole 9 yards. So right. I love my BMW, but I took it into the dealership. They said, okay, well, your motor mounts are collapsed, and we got a problem with one of your axles. We see there's a crack in it. Wasn't devastating to whereas it was it was going to fall apart but they did, when they did the service, and they say, well, you need to take a look at this. 6 months when you bring the car back in, we're going to reevaluate it, make sure everything is okay. But we just wanted to bring this to your attention. Yeah. But we will have to replace your motor mounts. So when they did the initial estimate, everything was $3,500.
Oh, always. They just start with those numbers.
$3,500. And then they asked me if I wanted to proceed like that wasn't a major decision.
Yeah. Well, and how would you like to pay for that? Right.
So, but here's the thing. You know what? I'm not going to, I had a service representative. I'm not going to give his full name, but we're just going to call him Angel.
Was he an angel or was he a devil?
Well, he acted like an angel, man, but his name is Angel. I'm not going to get into his last name, but we were talking. He said, well, I tell you what, he said, they pulled the maintenance records of the vehicle, because I've never had my car serviced anyplace else. He said, well, I need to talk to my manager. And I've heard that before. Let me talk to the manager. They go back, have a cup of coffee.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I talked to the manager, and we can do this.
Yeah. So,
oldest sales trick in the book here.
Yeah. So the guy tells me, he said, well, my manager is, in a meeting right now, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as he gets out of the meeting, we're going to give you a call. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, well, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop.
Right.
So finally, the manager calls me up. He said, hey, you look, I was tied up all day. He said, but first thing in the morning, he said, I'm going to take a look at, we're going to pull your service records, everything. And I'll give you an answer first thing in the morning. Okay. So first thing in the morning, sure enough, the guy gives me a phone call. He said, Mr. French, we looked at the entire service record. We noticed back in, I think it was 2019 or something like that, you complained about some vibration in the engine. He said, and they contacted BMW, and looking at the entire history of my car, they said what they're going to do is they're going to pay 75% of the maintenance, and you pay the
for an expired policy here?
On an expired warranty and maintenance plan. And I sat there with my mouth open.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with my mouth open.
Like, wow, I can't. But here's the thing. I had a backup, and I didn't know this at the time. But Angel had told me, he said, Tyrone, he said, sometimes what people do is they call their auto insurance company to see if they would pay for it. And I had never heard of anything like that.
You can call the auto insurance company? That's the last person I would call if I didn't have a policy. Hey, could you pay for this?
But think about it. I mean, people think they have an automobile policy and it's in case they get into a car accident. But again, he said it went into one ear, out the other. But when he came back and said, he told me about the $3,500, and I was talking, and the service manager's name was, Todd, came back and said, okay, well, Mr. French, we're going to work with you 75%. You pay the 25. Man, that was like a big relief. And again, here's the thing, Paul. It's not, I have the money to pay for it, but why pay all of that money if you don't have to?
No.
That was the whole issue. That was the whole point.
I get that loud and clear. I get more mad over the little stuff. The waste. You know what? To me, it's waste. I don't mind if I choose to go spend $3,500 on a vacation or something. Great. If I choose to live it up and spend some money, great. But it's that unexpected thing that pops up that I wasn't planning for, that I wasn't prepared for, that always ticks me off, and then somehow I feel like, whether I got it or not, what a waste. Gee, I just got this money, and now I'm going to waste it. I got it. It just got taken away from me.
Exactly. So again, being everybody's man, I mean, most people feel that way. I mean, so it's just common to think, hey, look, I don't, it's got to get done, got to do it, but I don't want to do it. So I had two options. I had option A and option B. So when Todd came back, service manager over Long Beach BMW came back and told me that they decided, as far as 75%, me pay 25. I was ecstatic. However, the Angel sent me an email and said, "Hey, Mr. French, we decided that because my car share was going to be $400. He said, well, we worked out another deal, and come to find out, we broke it down to where you're going to pay $158 out of pocket."
What?
And I was like, okay, yeah, this guy's an angel.
Yeah. Why? Everybody in the audience is asking why. Why did they bend over backwards for you? Why are they accommodating you? Why do they once they make a deal, why do they try and make it better? You're not moaning and complaining. You're not threatening them. You're not.
The idea that what they told me was that based on my relationship with them, the servicing that was performed, because I never missed a service, scheduled service. They look at my car, it's immaculate. My car, it's like they can't believe how well my car is maintained. And so they took all of that into consideration and just wanted me to be a happy customer. And it was like, you're the type of person that, we want driving a BMW. I mean, you maintain the car.
So you always say, we have these hidden assets. Reputation is one of them. You were a good customer, and you didn't value that enough. They did. Now we're talking feelings, not facts. My feelings are always hurt. I don't think my bank, my credit card, my dealer really cares that much whether they continue the relationship. They say they do. The few times I have to bump into somebody over something, usually like a late fee or something, they give me holy hell about it here.
Well, one of the things I can honestly say from the conversation I had with the service manager over there, again, his name was Todd. I told him, I said, Todd, I said, I am a BMW customer for life.
Yes. Wow. That one little thing, they had a choice which way to go.
Yes.
Should we give a shout out to the delership? Do you want to?
Well, it's Long Beach BMW, and
I mean that's phenomenal.
That's about it. Again, I'm a satisfied customer. I've been with them now for a few years. I guess going on 6 years, and it just gets better and better and better.
So I say the takeaway is the importance of having a relationship, and don't downplay it. Don't assume. Don't just roll over and say it doesn't matter. Too often I say it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters enough anymore. But when it does, it does. You saved a chunk of dough and felt good. The whole experience was positive. The shock went away. They made you feel like a king, and they kept you a customer for life. Wow, over a simple thing. Yeah.
But here's the thing: they also were trying to solve the problem prior to, as far as like I said, the $3,500, because Angel had mentioned. The service rep had mentioned about the car insurance. I had never thought about that. So this is what I want my listeners to understand and check out today.
Okay.
In your automobile policy, you have this clause. Well, some policies have a clause or a benefit for mechanical failure. I didn't know this. But again, you could be paying your automobile insurance. You're thinking, okay, if I don't get into an accident, I'm never going to use this. So it's almost like, I'm wasting money. But you get into an accident, the first thing people want to know is, did you have auto insurance?
Right.
So I called the insurance company. I explained to them what the situation was. And I'm thinking, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that they're going to, laugh me off the telephone.
Right. Exactly.
The service rep, they pulled my policy and said, "Oh yeah, Mr. French, your policy covers mechanical failures." And I told them what the expense was, the $3,500, and they said, "Oh yes, well your policy will cover that." And what we'll do is we'll file a claim and have the claim adjusters communicate with BMW. And then what they'll do is they'll send you a check. Matter of fact, they ask me for my account number, routing number. They will send me a check minus the deductible. I couldn't, Paul, I was shocked.
So can we be honest here? We started the show by saying you have an insurance agency. If anybody knows the ins and outs of insurance, it's Tyrone French, not Paul Roberts, who can't even tell you where his policy is. It's something I buy. I hope I never use it. I don't think about it. Once I bought it, I stick it in a drawer some way, and I hope I never have to find it again. My house insurance, my car insurance, my life insurance, whatever I'm insuring against, I don't ever think about the details. And here you are, as sophisticated as you are, even you didn't know all the ins and outs or had forgotten them along the way.
I would never say I know everything about insurance. I would never say I know anything about my profession. What I can do is tell you where to go and find the answer and to research it. But again, what I'm telling my viewers and my listeners is that pull out those policies, take a look at them.
Yes.
Call the companies, find out what those benefits are. Find out if you can literally, look at your coverages to whereas you can tweak those coverages a little bit to whereas you can literally lower that monthly premium.
Yeah, right.
Because a lot of companies are doing that right now.
Hey, another thing that now I'm going to, again, we're in the realm of feelings here, so you can correct me if the facts are otherwise. But my feeling is about so many insurance guys, not Tyrone French, but so many other guys. They sign you up and they forget about you too. They don't call up and say, hey, things have changed. There's a new policy out. There's a new thing. And maybe it's just because they don't want to let sleeping dogs lie. I don't want to bring it up and evaluate it again. But shouldn't we be pulling all of these policies out, looking at them once in a while, and calling up your agent and saying, let's review where I'm at. Is this really the best policy? Is there anything that's changed in my life or in the world of policies, something newer, cheaper, better, different, whatever? My agent, I've had an insurance agent for a car agent for 100 years. Not once has he ever called me up and said, hey, let's review your policy.
And, Paul, in their defense, a lot of insurance agents will send you a birthday card.
Yeah.
Or
right.
they'll send you,
a
Christmas card or something like that. But like I said, they don't send you a statement based on reviewing your policy. And you got to understand that a lot of these agents, me included, we have a lot of clients.
Yeah, I get it.
And so that would be counterproductive to call all of your clients to find out if they want to do a policy review. Sometimes, there's a beneficiary change. And so when you're making that change, you go ahead, you do the review. They want to increase their coverages or decrease their coverages. In that situation, we'll go ahead and we'll do a review.
Right.
But a lot of times the onus is on the policyholder.
Yeah.
To say, hey, look, there's some changes in my life. Let's see if I can call the insurance company and see what we can do to adapt to these.
Well, you just generated a bunch of phone calls because everybody listening today is going to pick up the phone. If they're not insured through you, they're going to call their insurance agent and say, tell me about this. Have I got this?
Which they should. And again, one of the major things that people should be looking at is making sure, especially with life insurance, making sure that their beneficiary statements or the person that they elected for selected for beneficiary, that is still current.
Oh, well, that was
still current.
When my late aunt died, she didn't leave but $10,000 here. And, not a huge, nice little thing. Thank you, but not a huge deal. It was amazing because I was her only living, breathing relative left. She never got married. She's my mother's child. I'm an only child. So it was me, and I took care of her. I never thought about it. She never thought about it. It was all left, in my mother's name and then my dad's name. There's a whole litany of people down the list. And right. I was just a little kid when this was written 100 years ago. Right. She hadn't thought about it. I hadn't thought about it. And so I had to go through, here's my mother's death certificate, and here's my relationship. I mean, I had to jump through all these little hoops just to get this, what would be considered a small sum in insurance world.
Right.
I'm glad that I got it. I understand it was a world to her. But I had to jump through lots of hoops because she had never thought to update it. When it was written, Paul was 12.
Right. Yeah, and it's a major thing, man. Even with people in their 401ks or retirement plans.
Yeah.
They need to make sure that those beneficiary statements are up to date. It's crucial.
I'll tell you another one I've heard about. How about this one? We live in a world, unfortunately, where a lot of us get divorced or end up, somebody dies, you get divorced, whatever, and then you get remarried, and you got all these crazy policies that have the old spouse in there or the old partner.
Absolutely.
And all of it, and you're not protecting your kids or this.
You actually, Paul, you beat me to the punch, because I have another story where it happened, and the ex-wife, thought that she was entitled to the money, and no, it's a contract, and ultimately, and it took 6 months to resolve itself, but the ex-wife got the money, and the spouse. The person that passed away didn't get the money. Ouch. But I can say this, even with your life insurance policies, you want to make sure, again, call your insurance company. Let's say if you got a whole life insurance policy or universal life insurance policy. And I'm going to make this quick because we run out of time.
Right.
But call the company and see if you have cash value in that policy.
Yeah.
Now, all that means is that there's a side fund. There's a reserve, a cash reserve, to whereas you can use that cash reserve for emergencies. And so I'll give you an example. When I first started out work selling insurance, I was with a company called New York Life Insurance Company back in the 90s.
Right. Big deal.
I was working with this seasoned insurance agent, and he had me going through his clients, going back to what we were talking about as far as policy reviews, but going through his clients and, setting up appointments for reviews. Now, this guy was like $1 million round table, top producer, had a staff. And again, I'm a new agent, and he had the wherewithal or the foresight to say, hey, let me take some of these new agents and have them service my clients, which was brilliant.
Right.
But anyway, making a long story short, I called this lady, and man, she was very nasty, very rude. just like, I felt like I was dealing with the witch on the Wizard of Oz, man. And I finally had to, and I was trying to be professional and courteous and everything, and I'm new with New York Life, and I didn't want to lose my position, but I finally had to stop and say, hey, look, lady, I apologize.
I'm doing you a favor here.
Yeah, but I said, you have this life insurance policy, and you have like $7,000. I just cut through the chase. I said, you got $7,000 sitting in your policy as far as your cash value and your death benefit, and I said, we just want to set up a time to where we can come back and do an insurance review with you. And Paul, the phone was silent. I thought she hung up on me. But all of a sudden, Paul, I heard this whimpering in the background. She was crying.
Oh.
And she apologized. She said, I am so sorry. She asked me my name. She said, what is your name again? She said, Tyrone. She said, you don't know this. She said, but my husband and I, we were praying. She said their home was in foreclosure.
What?
They were going to lose their house that week.
Oh my God.
And they didn't see an answer. They were praying. And then all of a sudden, here this guy from New York Life calls them up and let them know that they got $7,000 in a life insurance policy that they had forgotten all about.
Hidden value of life.
Hidden value. So there's hidden value in your life insurance policy. I'm telling you that there's hidden value in your automobile policy. Call these companies and find out exactly what your benefits are, because again, they could change your life. They could change your life.
Well, and a story of angels today. I'm not sure I always believe that there really are heavenly beings looking out for me here. But there was one named Angel who helped you out. And you were an angel that day for this woman. It gives me chills kind of here.
True story.
True story. Well, from those true stories, does everything happen for a reason? Maybe you're listening to this for a reason. Maybe somebody's trying to reach out through Tyrone here and tell you a story that you need to hear today. Think about it. And go find your policy. Let's start with that. Just go find them. Look at them.
Yes. You have nothing to lose, but you have everything to gain.
There you go.
Hey, again, and if you want to reach out to me, go to closingthewealthgap.coach. But I tell everybody, the best way to contact me is just to download my free mobile app. It doesn't take up any space on your phone. Just go to Tyrone, or just go to closingthewealthgapapp.com, closingthewealthgapapp.com, or if that's too long, just go to TyroneFrenchApp.com.
And now you got an instant connection, a button you hit, and you can communicate and connect and get a feed of information, other ideas like this, whenever you want. It's at your fingertip.
Absolutely. My business is in the palm of your hands.
Wow. I like that. All right. Thanks for joining us here today. Oh, you're going to give me chills here. All of these stories, how you got saved and how you saved somebody else, all because you knew there is hidden benefit in insurance that we don't understand. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Paul.
That's our show for this week. Closing the Wealth Gap. The one show, the only show that shows you how to take control of your financial future. Right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OCTalkRadio.net.